Well, the Niners had a disappointing year. I mean, they had a good season, but they had a disappointing end to their season. But can they get back to the Super Bowl? Well, let's wait and see next year. But what's going on, guys? My name is Antonio, and this is the AAS All Around Sports. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, we are going over the 49ers. Now, before we get started, before I get start talking, I'm joined by my little dog here, little Nell girl. Say hi, Nella. Say hi. She's one of my two little dogs that I got. And she's mainly calm and composed. She's mainly calm. But anyways, today, so the Niners got exited out early in the Super Bowl. They had a 10-point lead before eventually giving it up again to the Kansas City Chiefs, which we've seen that movie before. But the question is, can the 49ers get back to the Super Bowl? Now, of course, I'm a Seahawks fan, as you can clearly tell by my gear and by the jersey my dog's wearing. I do despise the Niners, but I do be realistic with them. But let's get this thing started. So, the Niners are still a Super Bowl threat because Purdy, he ultimately did not lose the Super Bowl for the 49ers. And I actually, when the Super Bowl ended, go check out my video after the Super Bowl. I did a post-game reaction to the end of the Super Bowl. And I came to Brock Purdy's defense because he ultimately did not lose that game for the 49ers. He ultimately did not lose that game for this team. It was the defense that did at the last second. But this team is still a contender because they still got the defense to get it done. Sure, they might not have Chase Young next year because you can't pay Bosa and Young at the same time. But you still got you got Nick Bosa, you got Fred Warner, you got Jeremy Ward, Jair Brown. You got so many guys that are on this defense that can get out there and make plays. And then also Dre Greenlaw, who I'm still shocked on how he got injured because he was running out onto the field and then that's when he got injured. I think it was the Achilles, if I remember correctly. But their offense, you got Christian McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and then also along with Ray McLeod, who I think is a free agent right now. Then you also got Elijah Mitchell. You got Gerard Jennings, who I have said kind of reminds me of the Seahawks' Jermaine Kearse when Jermaine Kearse was with the Seahawks, who we all know was a great Seahawk legend. But the Niners have the capability to get there. We've seen that. They've had the capability to get to the Super Bowl. It all comes down to if they can finish the job. It all comes down to that because they've been there 3 times in the last 29 to 30 years. And they haven't been able to come back with it. Only difference with the Seahawks is they've been there 3 times, but actually finished the job. Just want to throw that out there. Not trying to hate on the Niners at all. Because my grandma, she's a 49ers fan. Which means I have respect for the Niners fans. I got respect for their fans. I got respect for their fan base. I mean, the Niners are always tough. I always see them as the roadblock. Kind of like the Astros with the Mariners. But this Niners team has the capability to do it. But, of course, now we know Steve Wilkes got fired, which I'm guessing it kind of makes sense that he got fired now that I think about it because the defense ultimately lost the game, which now I can see why the Niners fired him. But the Niners, they have had the talent to do this for years, but they just haven't been able to fulfill their true potential to get to the Super Bowl and win. I want them to. I want, and I'm going to sound completely crazy, but I want the Niners to go back. I want them to go back, and I want them to finally win. Because they've had their drought. They've had their drought. And it's about time that that drought came to an end. Because I'm a Seahawks fan. I can take any hate that you throw at me. But you need to win a Super Bowl. And I want you to. Because this Niners team, Brock Purdy, he earned my respect after his performance in the Super Bowl. He earned my respect because of his performance. Because he ultimately did not lose that game. It was just the defense and silly, miscued mistakes. But the Niners, I mean, sure, I do not like them. Sure, I'm a Seahawks fan. I mean, sure, I would like them to go another few years without winning. But at some point, I know that's going to come to a close. I know that drought's going to end. But I want the Niners to finally do it. Whether it's with Brock Purdy or somebody else. Some point, I want the Niners to finally win. Because my grandma, she's not getting any younger. And the Niners have the talent. Purdy earned my respect after his performance. He earned my respect. Their offense is amazing. Trent Williams plays a good key in their offensive line. But you're going to go into next season with a harder task in front of you. If we look at the last 2 times that you were Super Bowl runner-ups. Super Bowl, I believe it was Super Bowl 47 when you were playing the Ravens. The season after, you go to the NFC Championship game, which eventually got beat out by the Seahawks with that famous post-game interview that we all still know to this day, which I heard Richard Sherman was in some kind of arrest. I'm not sure what all that's about. And then in 2020, after their Super Bowl loss in 2019, that they went on to have a bad season. They ended up missing the playoffs and ultimately giving the division to the Seahawks. But I'm not saying that's going to happen because I don't know. Because the Seahawks are in a bit of a rebuild situation. You can throw everything at me. I'm just going to say we're in a rebuild phase because that's very much true. But the Niners have the capability to do it. It's just history has not been on their side as of the last 29 years. And the opponents that they face, I have looked at some of their opponents because I keep track. Even in the offseason, all the opponents have officially been released. I know that the Niners played the Packers again. I know they played the Lions again. The Bears. If they do draft Caleb Williams, then I could maybe see them as a threat. Of course, we'll have to see what he can do. We don't know if it's going to be a whole Bryce Young with Carolina sort of deal. And then also along with Minnesota, which we don't know if they're keeping Kirk Cousins or not. Which, from what I've heard, it doesn't seem like it. And then you got Buffalo, who is a tough threat. I believe when I looked at the home and away, I think they were in Buffalo, listed to be in Buffalo, which that would be interesting to see the California area go to Buffalo. That would be a big statement game to me. And then also along with the Miami Dolphins, with your former defensive coordinator, I believe, or former offensive coordinator. I know it was one of your former guys. And then you also got like the Patriots, if they can get better under Jared Mayo after the Belichick era. And then that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, who you've owned in the playoffs. Your guys are 0-4 against him in the playoffs when he was with the Packers. And then, of course, you got like division rivals like the Rams, the Seahawks, if they can step up their game. I mean, I'm not expecting to... I'm hoping to at least be competitive in the division. I'm hoping to at least be competitive. Because I'm grounded. I'm leveled. I don't say we're going to the Super Bowl like those Dallas Cowboys do. I'm grounded because I know that we aren't Super Bowl level yet. But we're getting somewhere. I know the Seahawks are getting somewhere, but not to the level of San Francisco yet. But, and then they also go against Kansas City I believe it was in San Francisco that they were listening to. I would have to look again. And then they face the Cowboys, which only time I root for the Niners is against the Cowboys, because there's no other team I cannot stand more than the Cowboys. And then there's a few other teams that I'm not very certain of, but it's going to be for certain interesting. It will be for sure interesting. I'm expecting this 49ers team to be back next season as a contender. I'm expecting them to come back and win the NFC West again. I'm expecting all the things that they did this year. But they need to finish the job. And I'm hoping they do. Because you, the faithful of the Bay, deserve it. You've been waiting for a Super Bowl for 29 to 30 years. You've been waiting a long, long, long time. And I wasn't even born the last time the Niners won a Super Bowl. No troll intended. And then also I wasn't even born after the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, which was a long time ago. But the Niners have the capability. The main question is going to be, can they finish the job? That's going to be the main question. But anyways, that is my talk for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on the notification bell for day-to-day updates on my videos and live streams. And I'll catch you all in the next one. So long for now.